Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Trevor JPT33, um, and today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough to show you how to convert um, cyberfaces of players from NBA2K17 to NBA2K18, and this is for other modders in the NLSC community for 2K18 on PC, just to show them how to do this and take advantage of this new discovery. So, one note before we get started that I want to make is I will not be covering or really showing much detail of some of the steps that involve basics of modding. So like extracting something from the 2K Explorer or putting something in the modded folder or, something involving the Blender script, or downloading that, and setting it up, the Blender script for importing and exporting. So if those things aren't familiar to you, you will want to go to the tutorials and FAQ section, and you will find videos that will get you up to speed on those things, and then you can come right back in and follow along. So I'm going to be doing this walkthrough in two parts. Part one is all about getting the player to show up for the first time, which if you've tried this yourself and plugged files into the modded folder without making any adjustments, you will have found that they're invisible. So part one, the objective is to get the player to show up. And then when they do show up, you will quickly notice that they need a lot of adjustments to be made, because they will not look game ready. So part two is all about adapting them to 2K18 and making the necessary adjustments so that they are usable and they look good for in-game play, and so that you can just plug them in and play with them. And so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is create a folder that can be your kind of central folder for all the files related to the conversion process. As you see here, I'm going to be doing Rasheed Wallace in this walkthrough, and I'll eventually be releasing him as well, my modded version of him. And so the files you will need are obviously the 2K17 files of the player of the player you are converting. But you also want to grab files, 2K18 files from another player of your choice, one that has a similar build / body type. And the reason for this is that we need to convert the face successfully. We need to use a 2K18 PNG and a couple of the files in it. And so we're kind of just going to be copying information in from the 2K17 PNG files. So we'll be using the face archive of the the 2K17 player that you're converting, and then we'll be using the PNG archive of the player you chose in 2K18. Once you have these set up here, I'd set it up in a converted folder just to have it there, ready to drag into my modded folder and labeled how I would label them, changing the ID, the Cyberface ID, to one of my empty slots. And also that's somewhere to edit the archives that isn't changing the original ones that I have stored. And so now what you want to do is go into the PNG folder of your 2K17 player and make a copy, as I did here, of the highhead.scene file. And this isn't like absolutely necessary, but I just do this to avoid confusion. So I just rename the copy, the file that's the copy of the highhead.scene, 2K17 reference dot scene, add that to it just so that I don't get confused, because in the notepad you will just see two windows, two tabs next to each other, and they'll both say hi head just to avoid confusion. And then you want to go into the PNG archive of the 2K18 player and open up his hi head file, and this is the one we'll be pasting stuff into. And so there's three sections of the scene file that we're going to be editing the values of and pasting in sections from the original 2K17 file. So you just want to select the entire section from top to bottom and just paste it in from the 2K17 file. And so I did the material section, as you can see there. Then I'm going to go down to the next one that we need to copy. And where it says prim, it will have face counts, shaders, stuff like that, and like vertex group type of stuff. So copy that entire section. And do the same thing. Paste it in to the 2K18 file. One thing you want to keep in mind is make sure in this file, make sure that the information you are pasting in, or the place you are pasting in, is the first time you see each of these groups. And you will see where it says binary, you'll see just hihead.model file, the main hihead.model file, so that you're changing the right values. And then the last group here, vertex format, same thing for that. And by pasting this into the 2K18 file from the 2K17 file, this actually enables us to use the DDS textures from 2K17 and just use them with the converted player in 2K18. As you can see, there's just a couple values that change, these texture coordinates. And yeah, so this allows us to use 2K17 textures, even those that, like the face files, that the format kind of changed. So that's nice. And you can also use the chest color and, the files for the tattoos as well. And so lastly, the last thing you want to do in the hihead.scene file, and I exited out of the 2K17 when I was referring to, is to, like you would in 2K18, just modding any player. A lot of people will delete the LOD information and just point to the main hihead file. And that's what I've done here. I've deleted the sections that include stuff about the LODs under the main hihead binary file. And then I deleted it in that list to where it just says hihead in quotes. And so the next thing we need to do, we're done editing the hihead.scene file. The next thing we're looking for is we're going to go back to the PNG folder of the 2K17 player and do the exact same thing that I did with the hihead.scene file, where I make a copy, and then I changed I just changed the end of it to the 2K17 reference, just again to avoid confusion, because the file names or the tabs in Notepad will say the same thing. And then you want to go open the same file in the 2K18 archive
Since you can't just copy in the appearance info file from 2K17 to 2K18 because it's formatted differently and there's probably different information. I don't know what the line 1 is, what that represents, but I imagine that's different. That's a reason for that. And they also like have the indentions of the text are a little bit different, just little stuff like that. But what you can do is we won't be copying and pasting values in from the 2K17 file. We'll just be looking at it and updating the values of the 2K18 file to accurately reflect the values in the 2K17 file, the values that are shared amongst the files. So not all of these things will be in both, but as you see here, skin color, pit hair, color, iris size, you can get all those values from your original 2K17 file. And then the other ones, aside from body type, like you don't need to copy or to update the body type value from 2K17, even though it says average my player, and then this one it says average, because they pretty much did away with the body types in 2K18, so it doesn't work the same. To my knowledge, every player in their appearance info is average, so that one you don't have to worry about. And then um, these other values, you'll just need to look up reference pictures of the player or research online and fill those in yourself. And then save, exit. And so we're done editing the text files. And now we're just going to do some simple renaming. And after I delete, I'm going to get rid of the LOD files because I deleted all the information about them in the text files. So they're not going to, nothing's pointing to them. So I'll just get rid of those. And then everything else can stay in here. You can delete like the hair, hair shell, facial hair shell if you want. But they're just empty. If so long as they're empty text files, like you'll see the size or the uncompressed or compressed size will be really small, and if you click on it, it just has like two lines. So you can get rid of those or you can leave them there. They're not gonna make a difference. So now what I'm doing is, the last thing I'm doing is I'm copying in the model from the 2K17 PNG folder, the original model of that player, into the archive. And what we want to do is we want to rename it to the file that was already here for this player. And so what I do is I copy it, I click on it, copy the name, and then I delete it. And then I rename the 2K17 file to the same thing by pasting it in. And so now it matches up with all these other files, and it will load that file. And so now what you can do is, if you've got everything set up and you got the ID number, you figured out an ID number that you can use, you just go into the converted folder with the archives we were editing, and then drop it in your modded folder. And then you can hop in the game, and after you want to assign the ID to a player somehow through create a player or some current player. But now you see we're getting the first look at the player in 2K18, the converted player. And as you can see, he also has 3D hair. It's not textured. Unlike 2K18, where these files are different for facial hair and hair, there is information all combined into one that includes, into this one hide.scene file that includes facial hair and hair. And so luckily we don't have to change that. We just copy over the textures like we would for a 2K18 model, and the game will read those files, the 2K17 3D hair files that are packed into that highhead.scene file with everything else. So you can keep the 2K17 hair, you can add a different 2K18 hair, or you can just delete the 3D files altogether by either hiding them in Blender, hiding the vertex groups, or you can also just delete any information in the scene file that you see about facial hair and hair. So now you'll see in the edit player screen that the 3D hair and facial hair are now textured, and they look like hair should look like, with the exception of the color. The color is wrong, and some of these 2K17 hair color files have come over weird as far as the color. It's not right in 2K18, but this is a relatively easy fix in Photoshop or GIMP, and I will show you exactly how I do that in part 2 of the video as part of adapting the converted player into 2K18. That is it for this video, and so now here at the end I just have the converted files. I have the face and the PNG archive just sitting here just to show you the finished files to refer to, and to show you what it would look like.